Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Marquez Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. As always, we are brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. All right, it's a special episode of Saints Happy Hour podcast. We're previewing Saints Panthers. I got Dave with me, but I got a special guest. I got Jason Champagne. He is a patron. He won our raffle in August, and we promised him, the person that won the raffle, they would get to be on the show with us. They would get the whole show experience. He got to behind the scenes with Thomas. We woke Thomas up in Poland in the middle of the night. He got to experience Thomas yelling at me. So, Jason, thanks for joining us. I know you're a longtime patron. We're excited to have you.
Behind the curtain here.
Yeah,
excited to be here.
Yeah, so this is our game preview, and they're playing the Panthers, and I want to say this. Dave, if you haven't, you should either subscribe to The Athletic and for like a day and get their free trial so you can read their behind the scenes.
I mean, don't we have a Saints Happy Hour account?
We do. I should give you the password. But they had an article on the Panthers. The Panthers, Jason, my God, they are dysfunctional. Of course, we knew that because they fired their coach 11 games into the year. But like Joe Tepper's telling him he wants to run the 3-4 because he was a minority owner with the Steelers. He's telling him to fix Bryce Young's footwork. They got 2 weeks to get it done. He's texting with some coaches that are throwing other coaches under the bus. Like they're beautifully dysfunctional. And I'll start with you, Jason, since you're our guest on the podcast, but I want both of you to answer. This game for DA, like, it's loser leaves town. He's got to, like, if he loses this game Sunday and the Panthers double their win total, he's done, right? This is a must win for DA to stay as head to keep the nice parking spot and maybe even his key code to get into the facility, right? This must win, right, Jason?
Oh yeah, 100%. This is some kind of stink you can't get over if he loses this game. It's inexcusable, especially when you look at, how meh they've been and how bad they've been getting to 5-7. Like, if it was me and I was Mickey Loomis, I would have already made the decision already. Maybe not pulled the trigger until after the season because that's the Saints style. But, if DA loses this game, he has got to be done because it shows dysfunction on the Saints. Not as bad as the Panthers. We'll probably get to that, but it's pretty damning if he loses this game.
Dave, do you agree? I have another question for you, though, Dave. That I just
I do agree. The Panthers are a disaster. They can't get to the quarterback on defense. Quarterback situation is obviously a disaster. Their guard position apparently is terrible. They've got that new wide receiver. What's his face? Mingo. And Chuba Hubbard seems to be coming back.
He's coming around there, but the Panthers, they're 29th in points scored. They're 31st in points allowed. They're 28th in run defense. Their run defense is bad as the Saints. They both give up 125 yards. But here's the question I want to ask you, Dave. When's your first year you had season tickets for the Saints? How long have you had?
First year I had season tickets would have been 2006.
Okay. So this is a good question for you. I was thinking maybe you dipped into the Hazlitt years.
I did. Well, I mean, like I went to every game in Baton Rouge after Katrina. Mm-hmm. And I went to all the games in like 2000. I went to like the last 4 or 5 home games in 2004. I watched the Hazlitt team
Yeah.
live.
The end of 2004 was kind of good because they made that weird almost got to the playoff run. But the reason I asked you that is because I believe that Sunday you were gonna since you were only back 2004 2005. I believe you're gonna experience something new that you've never experienced in the Dome, Dave.
What?
I believe Sunday will be the angriest a Saints home crowd has been going to a game since maybe 2002 when it was the season finale. They were also playing the Panthers, and everybody knew Aaron Brooks was hurt. They needed to win to get to the playoffs, and they were like, why aren't you playing Jake Delhomme? Aaron Brooks is hurt. That crowd, they went to the game mad. They stayed mad for the entire game. The Saints lost 10-6. Or if you want to go back, like the end of Ditka, where we would just wake up in the morning and we would be like, I bought these tickets. I have to go to the game. Bleep this team. I hate them. They suck. I want people fired. Like the end of the Ditka year, 99, it was just like the last 4 games was just pure rage. Like we would just go to the stadium, first 3 and out, sustained booze. I think you're going to see that Sunday if the Saints.
And you're talking specifically about the vibe.
The vibe,
game moving
going to the game, like people are going to be mad.
But once they start playing, the Saints are going to win, right? I mean, like this is going to pick the vibe back up, right?
Maybe let them go 3 and out, or Derek Carr have a pick, and it just
Derek
builds
Carr
on
playing.
him.
What are you?
I mean, he practiced today.
Oh my God, are you serious? He won't go away. He's like Keith Richards.
Fucking cockroach, man.
Jason, how
is he after that hit? After he went through concussion protocol, he had an injured shoulder. Like, what is going on?
Jameis stands in shambles.
Oh man, I just told my son at dinner that Jameis was probably playing, and he was all excited. He's been wanting to see Jameis.
Peanut butter, Jameis time. So, Jason, how
you gotta go watch Carr again? Now, you know what? The vibes are gonna be low. Now you got me all down and depressed. I was kind of excited to see Jameis.
You wanted the Jameis experience,
damn, Ralph. Man,
sorry,
we got Carr again.
So, but Jason, where are you? I liked Andrew's question that he asked. He said it on Twitter, and we talked about it on the podcast. Either his thing, and I agree with him, either win the next 2 games, give us some false holiday hope, or lose both, and let's commence the tankathon and get people fired and get in that pole position for Jaden Daniels. Like, where are you on these next 2 weeks? Because they play the dregs. Like, the Giants are possibly worse than Carolina in some facets.
I mean, I'll be honest, like Carolina and the Giants are ranked 31 and 32 in overall team score on PFF. These are the worst 2 teams in the league statistically.
Yeah.
But I think my Discord handle gives it away, Tank Commander.
You're ready to go.
I'm ready to just, screw it all and say we just need to lose out and get the best draft pick we can and rebuild this thing because I'm sorry. I know their philosophy is always to try and win and try and get in the tournament. You hear Mickey talk about that a lot. But this roster has holes, guys, and it's gotten old quick. And, the more they lose, the better off they are for the future. And at this point, I think the boat maybe has sailed. And I know, in the back of my mind, I know in the next 2 games, if they win, they've got a shot to win the division and get to the playoffs. But you can't, like Sean Payton used to say, you can't eat the cheese. And, they did it once before with Jim Haslett. In 2004, they were 4-8, won out the last 4 games. You got Benson. Before the game, everybody was saying, is Haslett going to get fired? Is this it for the Haslett era? They win in dramatic fashion, and then Benson goes and hugs Haslett on the field like the son he never had. Oh, yeah. So
he had sons.
Well, yeah, that's true. But, he threw his arms around Jim Haslett. And then we got 2005, which, we really don't know how that would have turned out. But I still don't think it would have turned out that well. We probably were heading to 6 and 10 that year, even if Katrina hadn't happened. So we've already hung on to a coach too long and fell for fool's gold before. I don't want them to do it with DA this time. It's got to change.
See, Dave, that he made all these good points. They're all rational points. But here's the thing. I'm looking at Falcons Bucks. And I know what you're saying, Jason. It makes perfect sense for the greater good and blah, blah, blah. But Dave, if I look up in the third quarter and I see the Saints are like up on the Panthers like 17-6 or whatever, and I see that Falcons Bucks score and I see the Bucks pull ahead of the Falcons, and my dream of everybody being 6-7 in the South is right in front of me, I don't know that I'll be able to resist that for the greater good. I can't.
No.
I can't.
No. And the players are gonna keep playing, and I think that's where we're gonna be. I think we're gonna win the next 2 games, and I think we're gonna be right in the middle. I think it's gonna be status quo as usual.
Hey, usual? That's a full Ralph. A full Ralph. So this Carolina team, I did not know this until a pal of mine on Twitter, Ben Alterman, he tweeted me this, and we talked about it a little on the podcast, but Bryce Young, man, he's only completing 53% of his passes, 6 yards per attempt, and this is his last 2 games. Bucks Titans. 2 of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. Jason, Bryce Young, 53% completed, 6 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 5 alarm panic was what the tweet was. I mean, that Bryce Young, like that, Dave, gives me so much hope that as bad as the Saints are, Carolina has gone all in on a midget quarterback, and I don't think he's fixable. Like, I look at him, I see crappy arm, crappy mobility. They picked the Bama quarterback, and that was a mistake, and they traded up for him. That was a mistake, and it makes me so happy. But if he beats the Saints, Dave, I just got
not happen. It's not happening. Everything's gonna be fine. Take a breath. Take a breath.
Jason, Dave's confidence is freaking me out.
I know it's kind of unusual. You'd think it was Tulane playing this Sunday.
What's the Tulane? What's the line in the Tulane Bowl?
I haven't looked. I haven't even looked.
Tulane, if they don't win 9 games, they should run roughshod through that conference.
Yeah, Jeff Duncan stole my slogan.
That's right.
Maybe he secretly listens to the podcast.
Even though you're blocked.
No, I'm not blocked.
No, you don't.
Andrew is blocked.
Oh, Andrew's
Jeff
blocked.
Duncan.
I just hope he's not in the Discord.
Too late, man.
So, Carolina, we've talked about them being indescribably bad. But Dave, the concern for me is this Saints defense, when you like peek under the hood, because you can still look at it and you're like, it's 15, 16 at points and EPA and third down conversion, it's third down defense is still pretty good. And you look at it, it's pretty good. Man, the last like 5 weeks, the smallest amount of rushing yards they've given up is 125, and that was to Minnesota, who's, by the way, dreadful at running the ball. Like, they've given up 165 to the Colts, 156 to the Bears, 220 to Atlanta, 160 to the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Saints defense might have peaked earlier in the season. I think we're on the wrong side of the bell curve here.
Well, that's but here's the thing. Are we to the point where it's the 2 Bobs in Office Space, right? Who are they talking to? It's the guy with the glasses. I can't remember his name. And they're like, what would you say you do here? Are we there? Are we there with Dennis Allen? Because if you like, you're the head coach, you run the defense, dude, and the defense sucks. Like, I guess my question is this, Dave. Can Dennis Allen fix the defense like he did last year? Can he get it turned around the last 5 weeks?
Make the halftime adjustments.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think a lot of this depends on the offense, to be quite honest with you. I think this depends on whether the defense feels like they even have a chance to win this game. I don't know if they're going to play hard enough like they did earlier in the season, where they're going to play so hard that they're going to keep the Saints in the game all the way until the end. I just feel like I think they kind of go hand in hand right now. I don't know. I'm a little worried about my issue. My concern would be morale. And also, they're getting kind of banged up. I mean, Malcolm.
They're missing.
Lattimore's out. I mean, let's not forget Lattimore's out. I mean, Lattimore is a huge piece, a huge key. When he's in, that frees up a lot of other guys to do their own thing.
Warner was banged out. Your UDFA son, Roach, is out.
I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, you gotta take that into consideration.
Jason, I just thought of this. The Saints fans, we've turned quick against Derek Carr. I don't know. It's something about him just like rubs New Orleans people wrong, I think. I don't know. But I was trying to think of, the last quarterback that the Saints had that was a starter that we really didn't like was Aaron Brooks. But Dave, that took years. Like, he won the playoff game in 2000, and we thought he was going to be we were like, oh, we got a franchise quarterback. This is amazing. He's young. He can scramble. He's got a great arm. But Jason, here's my question. Do you think Saints fans hate Derek Carr as much as we hated Aaron Brooks at the end of his time with the Saints?
Ooh, that's tough. I would say, based on the fan reaction last week, yeah, they do. And it's, I don't think it's just performance. I think it's the way that Carr doesn't seem to be taking responsibility.
Yeah.
For the lack of performance on offense, he's not. We're used to seeing Drew Brees be such a great leader.
Yeah.
And really, steering the ship and taking accountability when things didn't go right, which didn't often happen, but when they did, he was front and center. And that's the job of the quarterback. The quarterback has to take the brunt of that. And Carr doesn't seem to do that. He doesn't seem to shoulder the blame. He kind of distributes it when he should be distributing the ball.
We need to merge Jameis and Carr, Dave. We need Jameis's personality and his accountability and post-game press conferences. We need to merge that maybe with
David Winston.
David Winston.
Jameis Carr.
Jameis. I like Jameis Carr. I like that.
Brother of David Carr.
I'm still like you, Dave. I'm stunned that Derek Carr is practicing this week. I'm like,
this is crazy.
Poor Hayden Hurst for the Panthers. His dad is like, he's got some sort of concussion and short-term amnesia, and he got like a secondary diagnosis. And they're like, we don't know when he's going to be back. I'm like, he got concussed so many times, he's got amnesia. I don't know if he should ever be back, Dad.
Right.
But
Fleener.
I mean, what did Fleener have? I mean, Fleener just had
all kinds of concussions.
Yeah, Fleener had like repeated concussions to a point where he was finding it hard to function on a daily basis. Like
post-traumatic amnesia. That's what Hayden Hurst had. That sounds awful.
Yeah, that sounds like a precursor to ALS.
Yeah, sadly it does.
Sounds like something a person in a war zone gets.
Maybe he'll forget how bad Tepper is.
The Saints made a bunch of bad offseason moves or offseason moves, Dave, that didn't work out, right? They got Derek Carr. They got the two defensive tackles that haven't really helped the run defense. Their draft is MIA except for Brissy. But man, the Panthers traded up for Bryce Young, dud. Hayden Hurst at tight end, injured. Chalk, terrible. Adam Thielen's been good, but he's old.
Yeah.
What else?
The new guy, Mingo. They've got the new guy. I don't remember his first name. His last name is Mingo.
Yeah.
Receiver.
Barcavius?
No.
Oh, Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It would be hilarious, Jason, if Brian Burns, the Panthers don't franchise him or whatever, and he leaves after they had multiple teams offer them multiple firsts, and they're like, nah, we're keeping him. He's the final piece. We can't let him leave. Literally the Rams last year at the deadline still thought they were a playoff team, and they're like, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Burns, and Panthers said no. Incredible. All right. Keys to the game, Jason. As I'm going to this game.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going after I got the live show Friday. We're gonna have a nice little dinner on Saturday with the boys, the podcast, and then I'm gonna go to the game Sunday. What are the keys to the game to keep me from spending $100 drinking at the game? What's the key to keep me from doing that for the Saints? And you can't don't tell me don't turn the ball over. Give me something that's not obvious that you think if they do this, we'll get to 6 and 7. We'll get the ship righted, or at least we'll keep it from sinking further.
Well, one thing they need to do is they need to get pressure on Bryce Young. I know he's somewhat of a threat to run, but they only blitzed him 6 times in week 2. 6 times. And really didn't get a whole lot of pressure. And honestly, looking at the previous matchup with the Panthers, they were so vanilla on offense. If the Saints get just the least bit exotic on defense, do a couple things, they could force turnovers and win the game. Another key is they got to stop Chuba Hubbard because he's been getting – I won't say he's been getting hot because their run game's been atrocious, but he's been getting carried.
It's been better.
It's been better. Yeah, he got 100 yards against the Bucs last week, and they only gave him 2 carries against us in game 1. They ran Miles Sanders, and that was a disaster.
Yeah.
But, slowing down Chuba, and, we got to run some play action, something we really don't do on offense. But if we can establish the run against their atrocious run defense, that opens up some opportunities late to take some play action deep shots. And we could put this game away. I mean, it's very winnable.
Yeah. Dave, what's something that you're thinking about for this game?
Well, I was going to say the Panthers don't really do a good job getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks.
They do not.
And
almost they're not as bad as the Saints, but they're pretty bad.
Yeah. And so I felt like that was going to be a good opportunity for us, for our quarterback. I was assuming it was going to be Jameis. I was assuming that would be a good opportunity for him to maybe cook a little bit and sling it around, and he'll throw some interceptions, I'm sure, but have a little fun out there and score some points. But I guess it sounds like Derek. So if it's going to be Derek, then I hope that
I worry. Yeah. I worry about the red zone because Taysom had a hurt hand.
Yeah, well,
else.
I mean, whatever, hand, that's not gonna. But I would like to think that Derek will pick up where he left off last week with his 15 straight completions, and this is a good time for him because if he's gonna have time in the pocket, then he'll have no excuses, absolutely no excuses. So that's what I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah, I think the whole thing to this game, if you told me, Jason, besides the turnover stat, because if you looked at the turnover chart and you're like, Saints lose the turnover battle 3-0, and you're like, Carolina's winning the game, or vice versa. But I'm really looking to see, if you could just tell me how many carries the Saints have running the ball and how many carries Carolina has. If there's a great disparity in one of those, I think that'll tell you who's going to win. Because both of these teams, their defenses kind of suck. They don't really trust their quarterback. I believe they're both going to come out running the ball. And listen, Detroit, opening drive, they jammed it down the Saints' throat, just like Atlanta the week before. So I'm 100% convinced Carolina, I think they're going to win the toss, take the ball, and be like, here it is, Saints. Freaking stop us. and they're going to come out in like 2 tight ends, and they're going to try to mash the Saints. And either the Saints get their crap together and stuff the run, or Chuba Hubbard's going to have 27 carries for $160, and Dennis Allen's is going to be donezo as a Saints coach because the Saints are going to be 5-8. So Jason, give me a prediction for this game.
I think it's 21-17 Saints.
Ooh,
As much as
scoring.
1 score hell.
No, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's a 1-score hell. Now the Saints will play with the lead.
Oh,
I do
okay.
think they'll play with the lead, and Carolina's going to have to try to scramble to come back. But I see it being close. Carolina's played a ton of close games this year, and the Saints really seem to play down to the level of the competition and don't pull away. The one exception probably being New England. But, you know, I just –
Looking back, that New England score was a giant flashing red light. When Dennis Allen went to New England and shut out Bill Belichick, he just basically told the world New England is trash.
Yep, and it turned out to be a mirage because we haven't had a single other game where we really felt that comfortable.
The
And
Colts game a little bit. It felt pretty
a little bit, but we started in the hole in that one.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, can either of you ever remember the Saints consistently starting games so terrible, Dave, during the year? Any season? I can't.
Consistently starting games so terrible. Oh. No, I cannot.
Maybe the beginning of Bountygate year. Maybe.
Ooh, that's a good one. Right. I have to look at that. Like that was because didn't Bountygate they started 0-4?
Yep. Under Aaron Cromer.
And then
they looked lifeless.
Yeah, they did. I'm trying to think. 2012. Yeah, they and I think even like the first game they won, they even fell like far behind. That's a great memory, Jason. I have to pull up the scores now and see.
Did he just out Rain Man the Rain Man? Oh my gosh.
He did. You're never invited back. Well, of course, the Redskins RG3 just cooked them, right? From the jump. Carolina too. Oh, let's see. No, Carolina at the end of the first quarter, it was 10-7. So that I wouldn't, but then Carolina got going and they scored 14 in the second half. So, and that dude, oh my God, that Chiefs, can you remember that game, Dave? The Chief game where the Saints were like
what year?
2012. Or the Saints were up 24-13 in the fourth quarter with like 7 minutes to go and still managed to lose.
Home or away?
It was home. Chiefs scored 11 points in the fourth quarter and 3 in overtime and won. Saints, I take it back. Saints were up 24-6
really?
in the third quarter and lost.
I feel like I would remember that. Well, maybe I blocked it out of my memory.
You block it out. Like 2012 Spags. It's just you got that memory wipe from Men in Black.
Was that Bountygate? Oh yeah,
that was Bountygate. You just block it out. Ryan suck up banging field goals in left and right. And oh God, Drew Brees got a safety by Justin.
Ryan suck up?
No, the Chiefs did.
Oh.
The Saints had Drew Brees got sacked by Justin Houston, who's I think still in the league.
I remember that.
On the Chiefs. He's
a Panther now. He played in the first game.
Oh my God, you're right, Jason. He is. He sacked Drew Brees for a safety.
What if he hits Derek Carr and takes him out?
I mean,
I don't think anything can take out Derek Carr. Actually, I don't know.
Derek Carr is indestructible. He will not.
Keeps on ticking.
He will not break, even if we want him to. So Jason made his prediction, Dave. But are you? This is I always ask on the game preview when I do it with you or I do it with Kevin. Are you going to change your prediction?
No,
because we got a day of injury report. You're sticking with it.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
Thomas, do you remember the score that I said?
The score that you said, he says.
Dave has me confident now. I'm thinking of changing my score.
Come on, don't change. Don't be a pussy, man.
All right.
16-7. 16-7.
I won't change. I won't change
yeah, that's
it.
weird ass score, 16-7.
I won't change
What
it.
did I say?
That's a Kevin
35.
score.
What did I say? 35, 12, or 13?
Yeah.
13, yeah.
So,
Hey, Tomas, check the timestamp on this.
before we get out of here, Jason, I want to
guys using the sound bites.
before we get out of here, Jason, tell the people like how you found the podcast, how you become a fan, because you're one of our really diehard fans. You're always in the Discord, and you're always on the live stream on Twitch. How did you find us? Because there's a million Saints podcasts out there.
Man, I think I found you guys through Canal Street Chronicles years ago.
Damn, same as me.
Many years ago.
What year?
And,
how many are we talking? How many years are we
I
talking?
mean, how many years have you guys been doing the pod?
Since like 2009?
No, it's before that. Me and Kevin started in 2007. Dave hopped on in like 2008.
I did? 2008?
Yeah.
I think it might have been right before the Super Bowl year then.
2008.
It's been a while.
You were there with Stu and Mountain Exile and all those guys. Like,
yeah, and
Beware of dog.
I remember the reason that it got me to listen was because Ralph was the host, and I'm like, man, he used to produce for Buddy D because he used to listen to Buddy D every day, and I'm like, I got to listen to this now.
Wow, there you go.
and you're from New Orleans?
Yeah, I'm from just outside New Orleans in St. Charles Parish originally.
Whoa. Oh, where? My wife's from Destrehan.
Oh man, I'm from Luling.
You're on the other side of the bridge.
Yep,
Did you go to Hanville or did you
I
go to?
sure did.
Okay.
Oh wow. Hawnville. So I mean, it's been like our podcast. Like we were lucky in that we like stumbled into it early. So we were like a early innovator. We probably, being that we've been doing this so long, Dave, part of me thinks we should be bigger than we are. But then again, I'm like, we're selling out live shows. How big? We're big enough. We're like everybody's favorite indie band. You know.
It's a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, it's it. So, but Jason, we can't thank you enough. I mean, like people like you who support the show, like it allows us to do this. It allows us to hire Thomas back in Poland. It allows us to have a freaking live show at Sports Drink. Like, I just want to make it clear, like the patrons, like all the fun stuff we do, like the donations and the support of the show, like it allows it to happen. I know it sounds like we're like PBS or something. Your contributions make PBS happen, but it really does. Like, you know, with like if we didn't have Patreon, we'd still be doing the podcast.
And from viewers like you.
But Dave, it would sound like at the bottom of a swimming pool. It would be me running everything, stressed out. My hair would be all gray.
Sponsored by Skype.
Sponsored.
I'd still be laying on the couch.
I just miss having hair, so.
Skype. Those were the
both, brother.
what we tried. How many things that we tried? Skype. We tried
Blog Talk Radio.
We did something. We did something that had a soundboard where we would record and it would be fine, but then it would be out of sync, and we would talk. Banana.
That's
no.
Skype.
Oh, that was banana meter was the death of me. Like, oh my god, like
The fucking banana meter, man.
banana meter, man.
I exercise these demons, man.
Yeah, like if Thomas ever tries to quit, I'll fly to Poland and hold them hostage. I'm never going back to banana meter ever. But guys, seriously. So Jason, we can't thank you enough for supporting the show and joining being in the raffle. And it's we hope you feel like you got your prize. I mean, you hung out with us and got to talk about the 1-11 Panthers.
Man, this was awesome. Thank you guys.
You coming on Friday, Jason?
Man, I wish I could, but I've got family coming in from out of town. So
I hear you. So do I. I'm bringing them.
Hey, and I want to remind people, if you're listening to this podcast, we'll post it on Thursday, Friday. Thomas, tell the people, there are a couple of people in Discord that are like trying to offload tickets to the live show. So if you didn't get tickets and you're a patron, hop in the Discord. maybe you can get yourself some tickets and join us Friday. It's going to be amazing. We have so much planned. Not really, but it's going to be fantastic. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for Dave. Thanks to Thomas producing the show back in Poland. Thanks for Jason for hanging out with us and supporting the show. Guys, until next time, the bar is closed. See you Friday. We are ready to go.